Now, Jenna, one of the reasons why this money matters and why the other monies matter and why the increase in the dole matters is because of this number that I want to read out here today about just how few people have got money in the bank. Now, again, we can all sort of sit around and tut-tut and all the rest of it here, but the truth is most people live paycheck to paycheck, or a big number of people live paycheck to paycheck because they have to. They're not living a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget. They're trying to live, a light beer life on a light beer budget, all right? And here, 1 in 5 Australians, apparently, basically are about to run out of savings, and they'll do so within a week. Have a look here. Finder's Monthly online consumer sentiment tracker surveyed 11,000 people in March. 19% of them said they would run out of money within a week. Almost a third, or 31% of those surveyed, would be unable to last a month with the money in their current bank account. The average cash savings of most respondents was 28 grand. However, the median cash savings stood at $1,500.
It's not surprising at all. I mean, you just have to look around anecdotally and talk to friends and family out there in the real world who live outside this media and political bubble, and people are doing it really tough. For example, over here, we were about to be slugged a 20% increase in our utility bill should our state budget have passed in the next couple of months, and people were already pushed to the wall with those types of expenses, and they're monthly, if not quarterly expenses, which people just can't afford, and especially if they're out of work. So I think the response to Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg's announcement this afternoon over in the West was definitely a massive sigh of relief, knowing that people will be looked after. That safety net, the stitching has been further reinforced, and I think it's a great thing. And if anything, coming out the other side of this, hopefully it'll probably encourage more of us to be a little bit more conscious of our spending, and maybe we'll start saving just a little bit extra for those rainy days when stuff like this may happen again. Well,
or your individual version of it happens again, because inevitably people are going to lose their job, and it's the nature of any economy at any time. You've got to try to prepare ourselves in lots of different ways. Richo, you know Scott Morrison as well as I do. You could see that, again, the bloke that you've had plenty of dinners with talking about budgets and all the rest of it here. He understands that you can see the sort of the moment weighing upon him and him stepping up to it, but also you can see that he knows there's a consequence. He knows this isn't just money that falls from the trees. It's money that has to be borrowed from somewhere else. It's money that's going to take a generation to pay back. But when faced with the options, he has seen there are people who will lose their homes, take their own lives, or you find a way to try and pull as many people through the darkness as possible.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've known him for 20 years, and so I know this bloke pretty well, and it would go against the grain, most of the things that he's had to do in the last few days. But the one thing about Scott that I think we've all got to acknowledge, he's a decent man, and decency requires that you make sure there's food on the table for your fellow citizens. And I think he's doing that really well. He's doing it with the support of the opposition. There's no argument here, and I think that's a really good thing. But Scott, had a rough period in the bushfires. I think he's well and truly overcome that little setback. I think people will look back on this as a great period for him.